Hey guys, I got another really cool project lined up for the Samurai tonight. I just finished wiring up my Toyota e-lockers. I took this thing outside, drove it over my wood pile and through a couple of ditches that I have. And I'm loving having the selectable lockers in this thing. They're going to be a great addition out here on the trails. But I've managed to pick up a used Trail Tough rock block. And tonight, that's what the project's going to be. We're going to go ahead and set up the cameras and throw that rock block at this Samurai. Now this was my scorer right here. What this is a Trail Tough rock block. They actually haven't sold these for quite a few years, but the Trail Tough down in Medford produced these for quite some time, and basically what they do is they take the place of the intermediate drive shaft that goes between the transmission and transfer case, and they have a 2-to-1 reduction inside this box right here, and then a 1-to-1 high range. So what that does is that adds a whole nother low range to the Samurai. So you can have your normal 1-to-1 pass-through on here, which is your normal high range. You can put this in low, which gives you a 2-to-1 low range. You can put this one in high with a transfer case in low, and in my case it's a 4.9-to-1 low range. Or you could put both of these in low range, and that actually gives you, that multiplies the two low ranges together. So actually it would have a 9.8-to-1 when I'm in low-low. And that's crazy low gears. Be super handy when I'm out in the rocks this summer. So let's go ahead and put the Samurai up on the lift and start turning some wrenches. We've got the Samurai up on the lift here, and we're ready to get started. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to remove the exhaust here, and we're going to measure and cut this cross member out to make room for the gearbox. And then the gearbox itself is going to take the place of the intermediate drive shaft right here. Now this drive shaft goes from the output of the transmission to the input of the transfer case right there. So we're going to unbolt that and bolt the gearbox in its place. And I'll also need to cut a little spot in the floorboard for the shifter. So it should be a pretty easy project, just a couple hours here. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got the intermediate drive shaft out of the Samurai right here, and I'm going to have to make a small change. This is the U-joint that came with the rock block, and Samurais came with two different size drive flanges, a smaller and a larger one. The smaller ones went on the older Samurais, and the larger one, which is what my Samurai has, is 88.5 and newer. So anyway, this flange won't bolt up to my transfer case input, so I've got to take this yoke off the U-joint and put the larger size one on. And I'm going to keep my intermediate drive shaft in one piece, but I've got this old Samurai front drive shaft which has the right size drive flange on it. So I'll pirate it off of this one, put it on here, and we'll be able to keep moving. Okay, we got our large diameter flange and U-joint assembly assembled here. We'll go ahead and put some red Loctite on the center bolt and bolt it up on the rock block. Normally when assembling a drive shaft assembly, you'd want to phase the input and output U-joints properly, but of course since this is a gear reduction box, when you have it in low range, they turn at two different speeds anyway, so it really doesn't matter if I line anything up. We've got our 1-to-1 high range here, our neutral position there, and then our 2-to-1 low range. Alright, looks like it's all set up and working good. Let's go ahead and put that cross member in. And the rock block's all installed. Got my new cross member mounted right there. The old one's cut out. The rock block itself is right here. It's mounted with this bushing right here. And the new transmission mount is installed right there with this bushing. Got my little hole cut in the top. You just barely see it for the shifter. And we're ready to put this thing down on the ground and try it out. So with both my cases in here, I've got 4 different ranges, and that gives me 20 forward speeds and 4 reverse speeds. So when I've got both of these in high, that's just a normal high range, same as stock. When I've got this one in low, the rock block in low, and the transfer case in high, that's a 2-to-1 low range. When I've got the transfer case in low and the rock block in high, that's a 4.9-to-1 low range. And when I've got them both in low, that's actually a 9.8-to-1 low range. So that's super slow. It's great for being out in the rocks. So let's go ahead and play around with these shifters just a little bit and see how slow we can go. So now we've got both cases in high range, and so this is for traveling at highway speeds. We'll go ahead and run down the driveway here in first gear. So 10 miles an hour first gear at medium RPM. Okay, we're going to leave the transfer case in high range, and we're going to put the rock block in low. So now we got the rock block in low range. We'll go ahead and do a run in first gear with that. So quite a bit slower. Now we'll put the rock block back in high, and we'll put our transfer case in low range. So those 4.9-to-1 gears, this thing's actually pretty slow, even with the rock block in high. Alright, now we'll go ahead and put both of these in low range. As you can see, the Samurai is just barely creeping along, even at high RPM. Now, fifth gear, when I've got both cases in low, is actually lower than first gear is with both cases in high. So this thing's really geared down. Well, that's it for the rock block project. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and stay tuned because I got some more cool projects lined up for the Samurai here.